this is before the ban list. It was already the most popular deck, and it's also the one of the decks that was not hit on the ban list basically at all. So I'm expecting the next metagame update for the OCG to have even more Cool Tune. Because they hit Mitsurugi on the recent ban list. They put Prayers to 1, but they did not hit Cool Tune at all. Nothing out of this deck has been hit. So this is how the deck looks at the moment. Of course, it has synergy with some of the hand traps that are tuners, like Veiler, Ash, Bell. Play a couple of those. Fedralis Harmonia obviously is in the deck. There's a couple of versions that play the new Synchro hand trap, the Synchro Emergency with one of the new Junk Synchron. Those two, we don't know when they're going to be available for us in the TCG. This is something that we might just not get before Nationals or before Euros. At least so far, nothing is announced as far as I know about the new, because these are from Limit Over Collection Heroes, because they are over frames, of course. So we don't know when we're going to get these. No idea. But there's also very, very viable versions without those cards. Like here, Battle Nexus Philippines was won by Cool Tune without those cards. So, you know, that, yeah. Yeah, we're going to, I want to see how, like, of course, in theory, the gameplay of Cool Tune, but let's see what happens in practice. Ooh, is this the OCG player who was at Worlds in 2023 on Task's team? What was their name? Searcher? Sea Archer? Sea Archer, right? Is that him? Nice. This is fusion deployment for synchros. What is banned for Malice in the OCG other than Ransom? Nothing for this one. On the newest ban list, they limited March Share, but this is before that. Oh yeah, Splash Mage. Splash Mage. But they do have Link Decoder. How many of your viewers are OCG? I don't know exactly how many, but there are some. I did get some because I wanted to make sure that the last OCG ban list, right? When I said I thought it was bad. Roland Lockbird. When I said I thought it was bad, I did ask people to give me some feedback that actually play the OCG, and there was a bunch of people in the comments who said like, yeah, I'm playing OCG and I think this is bad. How good is Drollin Lockbird against Cool Tune? I would assume it is pretty solid, because I don't think Cool Tune has many ways to play outside of, like, in the draw phase, and it does kind of want to make a couple of searches. It's solid, but they can still search from grave. Yeah, right. Yeah, I learned that the hard way, because I was playing Cool Tune in Genesis locals, and I was always running out of names, and then someone said in chat like, hey, you can just add from grave, and I was like, oh damn, I could have done that all the time. I would have had so many less problems. Once they have tuners in grave, Droll is useless. But that's the thing with Droll every time, right? Droll is basically a hand trap that's only good if you activate it as early in the game as possible. Like a turn 2 Droll is completely ass usually. In most cases. Like, if the game has developed just a little bit, Droll and Lockbird is just a terrible card. That's why they limited Droll in OCG because of this meta. I mean, Droll, the gameplay this card provides is just not fun.
そのキラーチューンシンクロドロールに対してチェーンで打たなかった理由も何かあるか、そのあたりもちょっと楽しみですよね。どんな選択だったんでしょうか。優勝選手のターンに移っています。シーアーチャー選手の盤面には見えている妨害はありません。手札のクリップのみです。優勝選手のデッキ選択はどうでしょうか。予選段階ではマリスデッキを使っていたようですが、ちょっとドロールもあると。そうですね、マリスの可能性もありますね。自分自身はあまり影響を受けずに自分ターンでもドロール&
Was the player on the right playing?
カード1枚セットからスタート。動く札がないのか、もしくはマリスなのか。ちょっとそのような
Oh, it's Melis, I think.
シーアーチャー選手は少し考えます。何かもうすでに動き出すような選択肢もあるんでしょうか。
Dude, I forget which one. What does this pop? Is it spell traps? Rekko popped spell traps. Yeah, they could synchro. Ooh, they have cool tune synchro to play here. Ah, but they have impulse in hand. Okay. That's messed up. Rekko is Urgula and mixes Pan, same colors. That is actually a good way to remember it. Okay, we're gonna activate Clip. That's the weird thing with Cool Tune, right? Like, half of it has such cool interactions, and then the other half is cringe. Is the weird thing, right? Like, all of the quick synchro summoning and destroying spells and traps and monsters on the opponent's turn, all of that is like so cool and really fun. And then randomly, like, you know, dude, please hit Whitebinder. Hit Whitebinder with Clip. Please hit Whitebinder with Clip. It's the one time where it's not toxic, but actually cool. Let's hit that. Let's hit that Whitebinder. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. Yeah, that's Whitebinder. Oh, it's Cryptor. Okay, we take it. We take it. That's good. That's a one-of, right? Dude, that might actually be insane. Hold up. Dude, if that wasn't Malice, I would be so annoyed right now. But because it's Malice, it's actually base. Yeah, RS negates that. Can't Cryptor activate here? No, you cannot summon them back if they haven't been properly link summoned before. They have a way, they can still get it back with March Hair. Bro, they got everything, man.
マリスポーンホワイトラビット効果を発動。そこにセットカードに手をかける。チェーンして
Imperm on White Rabbit.
ホワイトラビットは止まります。
Oh, last card in hand. Backup, I'm going to crash out. Actually, backup isn't even that good here. Without Splash Mage. They need Bestial or Wizard? Or March here.
何かひねり出せるか優勝選手。シーアーチャー選手が薄く見えた盤面をうまく使っていって、すべて優勝選手の動きを封じています。
Backup is combo? Is it? Because they have no other way to discard. They have one card left in hand. So if they make Link one special backup, whatever they... Talents! Oh my god. His talents, dude.
効果3つありますがどれを選択するか。展開を継続するにはモンスターのコントロールを奪うか2枚引くか、どちらかしかないと思いますが、通していって。
Oh, they take! They take to play around Ash? Little Maxi here, huh? Okay. This is the most OCG duel I've ever seen. What do you mean? What do you mean you're going battle phase? I guess because Cryptor is banished, it's not that easy to go for game quickly. Ah, they can't switch it because it was summoned this turn. Bro, I say you go in. I think you go in. I think it doesn't matter. I think you try to find a way to game. I think you go Haggard Lizardos. Well, it doesn't do anything, right? Haggard Lizardos, banish White Rabbit, bring back White Rabbit, make White Binder set a trap. I guess it depends which one they play. If they play TB11, maybe it works. 3 draws to get to White Binder. Yeah, but what's the alternative? What's the alternative? Cool Tune is a deck full of one-card combos. There's no way you can give him like 1 or 2 draws and pass. I feel like. At the same time, like going for a game is so hard against this deck, right? Because they have like Fedralis that they can draw and other things. Yeah. Coward! But this is the kind of position that Maxi puts you in, right? Like you either play and you lose or you don't play and you lose. It's base when it happens to Malice. I mean, yeah, same about the random, probably most important extra deck card banish from the Cool Tune. Yeah, that's cooked. That cooks through SP every day of the week. So we extra normal summon with Rotary. We activate Q to search. Yeah, that's it. The red player should just play a real deck next time. Dude, I mean, their hand was Droll, Impulse, White Rabbit, Field Spell, Talons. I'm forgetting one. Oh, and a trap. MTP07. Can Rotary even search if there's no hand? I think the way it's worded, it's you look at the hand and then you can search. So I think you cannot search if there's no hand, which is a weird drawback to have. I guess some decks can play around Rotary then. I mean, the thing is, like, Rotary is the most powerful when you're going first anyways, right? Because you look at their hand, you get the info, and then you also get an endboard piece. When you're playing, yeah, if you're playing into boards, I guess if you can end up like emptying your hand, it's kind of like with it's the same with K9 though, right? K9 has the same thing going for it, where some decks can play around it by just not having 2 cards in hand. Well, yeah. At the spell is super broken 2 weeks ago. Yeah, you could. So, yeah, you can chain 5 mana, fuse your entire hand away when they activate Rotary, and then they can't search, which is okay, I guess, sometimes. I will say most likely in this game also the banish from clip didn't matter, right? Like that game was decided by Maxi most of the time. Like even if they go for it, the chance that they successfully go for a game there are so small. They need so many summons, because like if they make, what's their line? They make Haggard Lizardos, they banish White Rabbit comes back. They can't even make Cryptor there because that's only 2 bodies. So they have to make White Binder, that's 3 draws. White Binder has to set a trap. They have to activate the trap, banish White Binder, summon like Dormouse with like TB11, which I'm not even sure they play. Nah, it's like 7 or 8 draws per game, I think. And I'm not even sure if it involves making Cryptor. Because there was no cards left on the Cool Tune player's field, so access code couldn't do anything. I mean, at the end of the day, this was mostly just a non-engine comparison game, right? I mean, the Cool Tune engine did something. They popped the back row. But for the most part, it's like, I go first, you roll, I pass. I hope that Impermanent Maxi is enough to stop you from playing. And then now I win when you're out of non-engine. Maxi was basically Fuwa this game, activated with no cards and only drew for extra deck. True, yes. Fair enough, I guess. I do think if it's Fuwa though, they play more, because it had other implications, right? Like they would have drawn for every summon, which would have included like bringing White Rabbit back, activating GWC if they said it with White Binder, stuff like that, right? So I'm dude. Hey, what are your next 2 cards? Oh yeah, I think you're gonna draw Dominus Spiral. Oh no, they would have to banish Dormouse. Wait, they're gonna you let him draw Dormouse? I guess you can just huh? Why do we let him draw Dormouse? Eh? What? Eh? We pop it with mix, but they have SP. They can protect it from 1 disruption. Why not give him Dominus? I mean, I guess maybe we're still winning, but why not just give him Dominus Spiral? Spark, not Spiral. Yeah, of course. Which is also, I guess is also a card from Blazing Dominion, right? That we can quickly take a look at, just for context for people watching that haven't seen it so far. The new Dominus card. During the turn your opponent activated a monster effect in hand or grave, you can activate this card from your hand. Target a monster your opponent controls, banish it. Then if you have no traps in your grave, they can special a monster from their hand. If you activated this card from your hand, you can activate Earth, Water, Fire, Wind for the rest of this duel. So this card is really good for a multitude of reasons. First of all, it's much better removal than Dominus Spiral, because instead of returning to hand, you banish, which is a much stronger form of removal. The second reason why it's good is because it still lets you activate light and dark for the rest of the game, which means that you can theoretically pair it with Dominus Impulse in dark decks and with Dominus Purge in light decks, which is really good. So any deck that is only lights or only darks, basically from now on gets to play Dominus Impulse and Dominus Spark, which is something that, for example, Mitsurugi and Malice are doing in the OCG. They play both of these. The other thing that's really good about this is that you can just activate it in the end phase. Like, you can wait for your opponent to do everything, and then in the end phase, you just banish the most annoying end board piece. And then even if they have a monster that they want to summon from their hand, most likely they can't do anything with it because it's already the end phase. So it's a really powerful removal hand trap. Yami getting to play this? Yeah, technically, Yami can. Like, Yami can play Dominus Purge and Dominus Spark, which is, you know, really good. Okay, so we tag out in the draw phase, which I think it summons, it targets 2 tuners. One of them comes to the field, one goes to hand, and then you can synchro. We try to pop the Little Knight immediately, but can't they just chain Little Knight on the red seal? Okay, do they have more interactions now? Flip? There's no way. Dude, there's no way this Dormouse resolves. I'm losing my mind. You have to have clip. You have to have clip. Okay. Dude, bro tapped the table for 2 minutes to then Valor the Dormouse. I'm losing my mind.
キラーチューンの相手の次の動きを読めるがゆえの選択が取れたということですね。優勝選手はここは
I'd be so pissed. I'd be so pissed if I was the opponent. I'd be so pissed if my opponent like pretended like he had to think about it for so long. It's like, what can I do about this thing? There's in that situation, there's so much hope in my mind. I'm like, oh my god, they might not be able to answer it. They might have messed up, and there's like, oh yeah, well, you know what? I'll Valor it. All right, well, Malice, please break. No.
選手対つけ麺選手は福助選手が一本選手、スニダリンですね。そして、フェリ選手対プルート選手は現在 1-1 ということで拮抗した勝負となっています。
No bell. No bell.
さあちょっとゲームが進んでました。テラフォーミングアンダーグラウンド。そしてドーマウスの除外まで進んでいますね。優勝選手としては召喚する権利を残したままアンダーグラウンドでキーカードにアクセスすることができました。そしてドーマウスの効果を使っていきます。ここに対してはシーアーチャー選手はアクションがありません。マリスポーンドーマウス制限カードに指定されています。さあここでやはりここも無限包容ですか。
Little imperm, alright. I mean, unlikely to be enough, right? Unlikely to be enough. But actually, without Splash Mage, not every normal summon is game. Oh. Cassie Cat effect.
除外して2枚ドローできます。かつこのチェシャキャットも帰ってこれますよね。除外されたが3作れそうですね。3までいけば何でもできそう。チェシャキャットの効果を発動戻ってきます。ここにチェーンはありません。
So what is the line in Malice in OCG? What are we trying to do? Is it link decoder into Whitebinder now? Is Chessie still at 3 in OCG? Dude, most of Malice is. They just now... Dormouse is limited. And now with the most recent ban list, March Hare is also limited. But that's it. I think they even have... Do they have 3 field spells still? It blows my mind every time we talk about it. They have 3 field spells. That's insane. 3 rabbit?
これはもうマリス側がちょっと無敵モードというか、そして3体でリンク召喚、マリスハーツオブクリフターです。マリスクイーンハーツオブクリフター。
Bro, dude, there's no way that's the line, by the way. There is no way that's the line in OCG Malice right now. There's no way that's correct. There's no way you link all 3 off into Cryptor and pass. There's no world. But I mean, it's gonna work. Yeah, it's gonna work fine. What? Do all the cool tunes have to go to grave to get their effects? Let me check. If this card is sent to the grave as synchro material, yeah? Okay. Cool. Good story. Good talk.
し。レコの効果もデッキロックによって縛られて使えません。シーアーチャー選手はどうしますかね。
残りの、いやでも手札のカード絡めてもみんな除外されてしまって、モンスターは出す。シンクロモンスター
Malice looking kinda nice for Blazing Dominion format. I mean, if they do nothing about D-Fissure, then yeah, of course. Like this is that it's gonna be a viable deck. It's a viable deck now because the best deck in the format is Draco Tail, and Draco Tail loses to D-Fissure, and that's a big selling point. And that doesn't change with Cool Tune, I guess. It gets better with Dominus Spark. Like Dominus Spark is a buff to Malice because it can play it.
向こうも使えませんし、ただシンクロしていきますね。
ロタリーじゃないか、9ですね。33で6シンクロ。
ラウドネスウォーでしょうか。ラウドネスウォー、守備表示で特殊召喚です。ただこのカードも妨害の効果を使うには墓地にキラーチューンモンスターがいないといけませんので、
相手が効果発動したときにキラーチューンモンスターを墓地から除外すると、その素材として墓地を送られた時の効果を適用できるというかなり強力なカードであるんですけど、
シーアーチャー選手はカード1枚セット、ターンを返していきます。優勝選手はここでエンドフェーズにクリプターの効果を発動です。1枚対象にとってフィールドのカードを選んで除外します。チェシャキャットを戻して除外するカードはセットカードになりますか。
シンクロオーバーテイク。シンクロオーバーテイク。はい。
I feel like we can up 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 up.
マッチの勝者となります。
先行はやはり
1対1。フェリ選手対フルート選手も1対1。全卓1対1。
全卓1対1。
かなりこれは決勝戦熱い戦いになっています。チームスニダリンシーアーチャー選手試合再開。ジュークジョイントキラーチューンからスタートです。
Can you build a deck that's able to win with all Dominus cards? I thought about that. I thought about that at some point, but I just think like there's not enough really good ones.
ドロール&ロックバード。しかしシーアーチャー選手もそれは分かっていたと言わんばかりにキラーチューン9を加えていきました。
レベル2のモンスター以外のキラーチューンモンスター手札に加えられます。
キラーチューン9でしたらドロール&ロックバードの制約も考えずにデッキからモンスターを呼ぶことができます。
9はバニーモンスターを特殊化する効果ですからね。
いや、ドロール&ロックバードが刺さってはいるんでしょうけれども、うまく受け流しているように見えます。シーアーチャー選手の二の矢の選択はどうか。
あともう一回召喚もできますからね。
これがジュークジョイントを持っているメリットですよね。
手数になるんですよね、このカード自体が。
優勝選手はドロール以外の手札から発動できるカードが何かあるかどうかです。
You know, I would have liked to see what Cool Tune can do with the new cards, but so far in this feature match, it's just been Droll game 1, so they weren't able to do anything. They had some interruptions on the opponent's turn, but I already was familiar with those because that was all the old stuff. Game 2, they got floodgated out of the game. Game 3, they're under Droll. Like, we just don't get to see the decks. The decks don't play. They're simply not playing.
最後に勝てればいいというようなね動きをしていくデッキです。
その分クロート好みのと言いますか難しいデッキではあります。今加えたキラーチューン9を通常召喚です。効果を発動していく。
これでできる限りの召喚はしていますが、9の効果でデッキからモンスターを特殊召喚と。
Oh, we summon from deck.
選手はここにはチェーンはありません。
チューナーなら何でも特殊召喚できます。
例えばナチュルローズウィップのようなカードを選択することもできますが、マリスのことを考えるとそうではなくという感じかもしれません。
あまり意味はないですけど、ハルモニアも特殊召喚できますよね。
何でも持ってこられるというところですよね。
They don't play Red Nova anymore, do they? I'm still not sure how I feel about that. I don't know if that's correct to not play Red Nova, personally.
レコにつなげたいところかと思いますが、他の選択肢もありますでしょうかね。
出していくのはロタリーが、いや、
キラーチューンクリップですか。
ですか。
これはこう手札をいろいろこう考えたくなりますね。他にどんなカードを持っているのか。キラーチューンクリップは基本的には手札にいて相手のターンに効果を使っていくモンスターですので、何か回収する手段を用意して。
It's correct because you want your level 1 to be rotary. I'm not saying it should be your target for it all the time, but I think you could still play it as a one-of just in case you want it. And also, I don't think it's a bad draw because you can just synchro with it from hand. Oh, they ashed the effect of the field spell to tribute clip.
ここにジュークジョイントキラーチューンに春うらら打ってきました。
なるほど。クリップを墓地に残しておくと、例えば後でレゴが出てきた時に墓地から手札に加える効果もありますので、そのあたりがあったかもしれませんね。シーアーチャー選手はおそらく
New continuous trap reveal. Yeah, I saw. We'll look at it after this.
拾う動きがしたかった。そこをさせじと優勝選手。
ドローラーのロックバードあくまでもデッキから手札に加えられないので、一回墓地経由して墓地から拾う。
What is this, level 5?
ドローラーのロックバード効いていても手数を増やせる。
We just make red seal? No. Ah, that's fine, right? That's okay because it can tag out on the opponent's turn. That's still some disruption. And we get to look at the top deck now. Backup and March here. Oh, those are both good draws. Those are both good draws. Wait, oh, hold up. What's the wording on it? You banish one of the two? Imagine you hit 2 Malice monsters with that. Oh my god. Excavate 2 cards from the top of the deck, banish one of them, and place the other on top or bottom. Yeah, dude, if you hit 2 Malice with that, you just get cooked. I mean, you banish backup, and then the March here you put bottom? Do you want them to have March here? No, they put bottom. It does feel, I will say, it does feel really bad whenever you reveal 2 really good cards with this card, because you would like to keep one of the 2 on top if you can, right? Because then you have more information about what your opponent is holding. Now they're gonna draw an unknown card, which is significantly worse. But like, I think March here on average is such a good card that you don't want them to have it.
優勝選手は確定された未来ではなくて、新しい未来の扉が開くことができる。
そうですね。はい。手札4枚からのスタート。シーアーチャー選手はドロール&ロックバードによってかなりこう動きを制限された中、優勝選手うまい場所にうららを当てていきました。
2枚分強いカードを失ってると見る方向性もあるかもしれませんね。
I mean, so far, just looking at this one match, like the Cool Tune deck doesn't seem that broken, but once again, they haven't been able to do their combos.
優勝選手はまずはリミックスの効果を確認です。はい。シーアーチャー選手としてももうこの選択肢しかありませんでした。
Alright, now 4 cards for Malice, all unknown. Chessie Cat. Uh-oh. Alright, we hit him with the tag out immediately, and they have Impulse. This is the most Malice game I've ever seen in my life. Do we have clip in hand? Not guaranteed. No. They could, but we don't know about it. And of course they have a Malice card in hand. Another Chessie. To troll Ash Impulse Chessie.
手数が手札にあるかどうか墓地をもう一度確認。シーアーチャー選手も手札にあと何か
This must be especially tilting for the opponent because both Ash and Impulse are already semi-limited in this format. This is before the last ban list, but this is already with 2 of each.
ここでスプラッシュメイジがいれば
いやそうですね
話は簡単なんですが、
はい。
優勝選手ももう一体出力の必要があります。選択肢を考える。
後手からのマリス。
ライフポイントを取れないのであればジュークジョイントは除外しなければいけませんし、ただ手札3枚ありますからね、できれば決め切りたいですよね。
This is game 3, yeah.
チャンスのターンです。
優勝選手、優勝を手繰り寄せることができるか。シーアーチャー選手の先行展開を見事なドロール&ロックバード、そして春うららでいなしました。ドミナスインパルスも直撃。シーアーチャー選手は苦しい展開。優勝選手は手数を
So, with Splash Mage banned, is this combo without an extender in hand? I think not, right? Because Haggard Lizardos doesn't work because you've already used Chessie Cat, so this is not combo if you don't have any extension in hand, any Bestial, backup, March Hare, whatever. But they need something in hand. Yeah, it's not enough. So the one good thing about Malice that they did on the OCG ban list is actually making a difference here, right? Because they actually banned Splash Mage. Dark the Dark Charmer. Okay. Clip is dark, right? Yeah, Clip is dark. Nah, you can't Fedralis this. There's no way. They search. I guess they search March here, but it might not do anything. There's no way you Fedralis this. There's no way. You could Veiler it. But it feels hardly worth it to Veiler this. To be honest. I'm sure you would have Veiler Chessie? Maybe. Fedralis is so risky though. If you destroy Dark, it's Bell. Okay. Bell on Dark. Ah, they can't play. Alright. My favorite Malice combo is the one that doesn't happen. Bro, how did Cool Tune get away with these games? It feels like Cool Tune was losing all 3. I mean, it's not over yet here, because if they don't have extenders in hand, it's not unlikely they have... Ooh, Buster? Okay. That's kind of mid. Yeah, Cool Tune wins by doing nothing. That's how Cool Tune wins. It's not a combo deck. It's a very efficient control deck that trades with non-engine. Yeah, I see that. I do see that. I still, like, that's also what I like about it. It's just the way that it does interact sometimes feels not healthy, but it's still, like, the playstyle itself is something I vibe with. Because this is technically exactly the type of game state that Cool Tune wants to be in, right? Like, because what's gonna happen this turn is even if they don't find game, they're gonna look at the opponent's hand, they're gonna look at the opponent's top deck, and they're just gonna make sure that this game does not get away from them, right? Like this is the exact board state that you want to be in with Cool Tune. Is like middle of the game, both players are somewhat low on cards. You have some information about what your opponent has, and then you're like, okay, look at hand, look at top deck, and GG's, right? Isn't this rotary super risky if Malice has the second impulse? I think rotary performs a normal summon. I think. I'm not sure though. I don't... Because impulse only works on stuff that special summons, right? I think if you get to this point, it's over. Because now we add Cool Tune Synchro, we look at hand. Dormouse and Lockbird. Oh, they didn't Lockbird because they need the Dark Search, I think. This dark is awkward for Cool Tune a little bit, right? Because if they now look at the top two cards in the deck and rearrange them, if they run over the dark later, then that's gonna reshuffle the deck. Bro, do you ever have a bad card on top of your deck? It's always two extenders, man. Bro. Oh yeah, wait, they couldn't even activate the draw because impulse, right? My bad. I thought it was a deliberate decision, but it wasn't. Okay. Vazimus Lord, thank you for the 2 years. I appreciate that. And Jamie Doge, thank you for the 20 months as well. Alright, we're Pepe D'ing when Malice is losing. I like it. Wait, did you wait? Did you wait until the Cool Tune player had perfect information to play the remix? Alright. Oh wait, it's over. It's GG's. Okay. Yeah, I guess back to back is pretty big actually. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I think the last game was probably the best showcase of the Cool Tune deck, but realistically, we haven't really seen much from it. I would say most of these games were decided by non-engine, which I guess makes sense if it's just Cool Tune against Malice, because both of these decks are built to work around non-engine a lot, right? Like both decks are pretty one card combo-y with a lot of space for non-engine, I suppose. OCG doesn't look too much fun right now. It reminds me a lot of Master Duel, which does make sense. Because it's just more non-engine heavy, I feel like. The deck, it's a cycle, I feel. It's a cycle where the power level is higher because they refuse to ban certain problem cards. And because the power level is higher, they are forced to play more non-engine and also rely more on non-engine to win their games for them. Which as a result often ends up creating these sort of games where it's like one player makes a board, has a hand trap on top of it, wins the game, which by the way is that sort of thing can happen in the TCG, absolutely, right? Like the first match that we watched, the Mitsurugi against Radiant Typhoon, this felt more like a TCG game Because both of these decks, I mean, of course, the Mitsurugi deck is a little bit more powerful in OCG because of the Demise Ritual monster and stuff like that. And we did see Fedralis Harmonia make an appearance. But overall, this was still like game 1 and 2 felt very TCG-like, you know, where both decks inherently are relatively balanced, like Pure Mitsu and Pure Radiant Typhoon are two relatively balanced decks. And if they go first and make their board, then it's actually possible to play into them. But what we saw here was, well, game 1, Radiant Typhoon went first, Mitsurugi started to play into it, and when it started to look winnable for Mitsurugi or started to look playable, Droll Lockbird was discarded, and then the game ended on the spot, right? Like they surrendered immediately after the Droll Lockbird. Game 2 was the other way around. It was Mitsurugi making a board for a moment, right? And then they discarded Ash Blossom on their starter, and then the game ended on the spot as well. Right, so that was game 1 and game 2, and those two, they feel very much like TCG. That is what happens in TCG right now as well, right? Like if Pure Mitsurugi plays against Radiant Typhoon, this is how it goes if they draw Droll and Ash respectively, right? Because otherwise the games are playable, which is a little weird. But then the finals felt more like OCG, where it was more like you know, Droll here, Maxi there, mini game here. Try to stop you from playing at all costs, which is Malice versus Cool Tune, I suppose, is kind of a dynamic that these decks have, because I'm pretty sure that neither of these decks, this goes for both Cool Tune and for Malice, neither of these two decks can beat each other if they combo, right? That's the thing, right? Like if Cool Tune makes a board, Malice isn't winning. If Malice makes a board, Cool Tune isn't winning. So the game is forced to be this, right? The game is forced to be this dynamic because the only other alternative is whoever goes first auto wins, right? Which is weird. Which I think is essentially, at least from my perspective, the biggest challenge that Yu-Gi-Oh has in the modern days is like, how do we get away from this like non-engine compare hand mini game play style? Because the thing is like you might think like, oh, the easiest solution is to just get rid of the hand traps, but then again, you do have this problem where like if you just get rid of Droll Lockbird and Max C and Molcharmies and Ash Blossom and Dominus Impulse and whatever, right? Like a lot of these cards, then you do have decks that absolutely just auto win the game if they go first, right? Which is a weird dynamic. So I'm not entirely sure what the solution for this is, but I do think it is something that they should be tackling. I do think in the recent year, they've made a couple of steps in that direction. I do think at least their attempt at the moment is by making more turn 0 plays that are not focused around negating everything. I think that is a solid approach, where it's like cards like Draco Tail Phimena or Cool Tune Clip for that matter, right? Like there's ways to develop your board and slightly interact with your opponent on turn 0 to make sure you can, you know, get on board and develop a board presence and participate in the game before your opponent has made the full combo, right? But at the same time, the interesting thing about those interactions is that they not straight up negate what your opponent is doing, right? I think that is, from my perspective, that is healthy, because I think just negating your opponent's starters is not a great way to or have fun in this game, right? Because you're just like, okay, well, I hope you don't play the game now if I ash your starter, or if I imperm your normal summon. Like imperming a Dormouse doesn't feel as fun as like having a 5-mana hand. Of course, it's not always winning either with 5-mana, but like it feels more interactive when it's turn 0 plays rather than negation hand trap, right? And I like that direction, which is also why like I acknowledge that the dominant the Fedralis Harmonia is an incredibly powerful card, but I still think like the play pattern it provides is more fun than something like Dominus Impulse, for example, or Ash Blossom. However, this card does have some of the similar problems. Like, for example, this card is also usable when you have a board, so you can use it going first. Which is, I think, it's weird because on the one hand, I'm not sure if every hand trap should get the Molcharmy treatment, because that's something that people have been saying recently, is like, oh, every hand trap should work like a Molcharmy, so that you can't use it when you go first and only the player going second can use it. I think that's a little weird because there is a lot of games where the Molcharmies are also not fun, especially when you go first and you just open 2 Molcharmies. And now, like, imagine how the game is when all of the hand traps work like this and none of them are usable when you go first. It becomes very weird to even go first, and then like you open 2 or 3 non-engine, it's all dead cards because you're going first, which means you have like 2 cards left to play with. And at that point, your opponent activates a Molcharmy or whatever, and you're forced to make a half board, but you have 3 dead cards behind it. That also can't be the goal, right? It can't be the goal. So I feel like ultimately, I think the solution is to lean on. They should lean in a direction with card design to make cards that are usable going first, but they are significantly stronger when you go second. I think that's how I like it. Examples of this are like in the non-engine department, you can look at cards like Forbidden Droplet, which is a very powerful card going second, but it's kind of a mediocre card when you go first, right? Like you can use Droplet going first and you'll probably find a good spot for it, but it's not that crazy, right? You have to like send one of your end board pieces away, or one of your face down cards, or one of your remaining cards in hand that you would like to keep for follow-up. You send it away for Droplet, but you still get value out of it. It's not a dead card, but it is significantly stronger going second. So I like that for non-engine. In terms of hand traps, I I don't know which hand trap is like stronger going. Most hand traps these days are either dead going first, like the Charmies, or mediocre going second. Like Ash and Imperm, I would say, are not that great going second. Ash in particular is much stronger going first. So I'm not sure how it is with non-engine. In engine cards, they have a couple of cards where it is like that, right? Like Ketu Draco Tail or Incredible Ecclesia or whatever. Like those cards are pretty well designed. So I think that's just how it works. I think they just have to inherently make decks stronger going first, right? In a way where you're not reliant on drawing non-engine all the time. Actually, I think I retweeted a post by Lorenzo Muselli recently as well, where he put it into some pretty good words as well. He said, in my opinion, to improve the game and reduce non-games, it's not enough to limit unfair cards. Deck consistency also needs to improve to avoid bricking. Lowering the overall power level would let decks run fewer non-engine cards and more cards that actually help them play. I think this is a good take that goes in like a similar direction, because it's like you want to play engine versus engine in Yu-Gi-Oh! At least from my perspective, that's the most fun way to play the game, is when engine versus engine happens. But engine versus engine can only happen in a world where decks don't just auto win when they go first, right? Because no one is gonna play engine heavy decks when you just get OTK'd or FTK'd when you go second. Like, you're just not gonna do it. You're never gonna play a very engine heavy decks again in Yu-Gi-Oh! if that's the case, right? Like, if you go second and your opponent just FTKs you're not going to play engine. You're going to play non-engine because you're forced to, right? Maybe you have some in-engine hand traps as well to stop the opponent from playing, which is why, by the way, that's the only reason why those super engine heavy decks even exist or even work in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Something like K9 Vanquish Soul, which technically has a very high engine ratio in the deck, that only works because Izuna and Holisu are also hand traps. So that the ratio between engine and non-engine isn't far off in those decks, because you actually have like Izuna in the deck, right? So yeah, I don't know. I think the solution to this is to make engine that is just not as good going first but better going second. Period. I think that's how it has to be. And there's a couple of examples of this where they're trying to do this, right? Like Draco Tail is the obvious one, because Draco Tail it goes further than Phimena, right? Like Draco Tail is the perfect example for this in many ways, because Draco Tail fulfills a lot of the things that we just talked about, right? Like Draco Tail has an in-engine hand trap in Phimena. Draco Tail has in-engine cards that get better going second, which is not just Ketu Draco Tail. It's also all of the like Mululu, Pan, Urgula, all of them get better when you go second, because you have things to pop and things to negate on your opponent's side of the field, so they generate more value when you're going second. And on top of all this, the deck is designed in a way where it's very efficient and it is strong, but the end board is nowhere close to the end board of like a combo deck in the game, right? So the deck is in. Sometimes there's games with Draco Tail where you want to go second in hindsight. Like you wanna go second with Draco Tail because it just plays well into boards if your stuff doesn't get negated, right? Then the Albaz cards came out. Yeah, nowadays you could argue like Draco Tail is doing too much going first, which I think is fair enough. I think that's also why I don't like the Albaz cards being put into the deck and into the format basically. But yeah, I ultimately think we're not quite there yet, but I think you can see that they are taking some measurements into this directions, some measures. Like they are designing decks better than in the previous years right now. Not perfect yet, don't get me wrong. There's still things that are not perfect, but it's going in a good direction, I think. Not everything. Sometimes they do things where I'm like, what is going on? Why are we doing this? Like when they made Solemn Report, for example. But for the most part, I think things are moving in the right direction, which is always good to see.